It is 39 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. Fire on the Mountain. That by Asha taking us to this very point in the show. Listen, I'm slowing down in my address because the irony of the song, not just about the conversation at hand, but also the weather. What is going on in the context of the African continent? Nevertheless, we're not chatting weather this evening. We are talking all things, the realities of finances and how this then further sends out the scourge of GBV, not just across the continent, but the world over, if you will. Now, if lack fuels violence, then solutions must go beyond punishment. Evidence across Africa shows that when job opportunities, access to credit, and mental health support are combined with reshaping harmful gender norms, households become safer. This is not only about justice, it's about restoring dignity and stability in our African homes. Now, with us, we still continue conversations with Busie Mzandolo, who helps us explore what works and what can change Africa truly, and of course, address its needs. Now, Busie, we continue this conversation looking at solutions. What interventions have you seen work best in breaking the link between unemployment and GBV?
So the solution, or I think the best solution that I always say, I know people always say I teach unity because GBV is gender-based violence. There is intimate partner violence. There is domestic violence. There's a lot of these violences that happens, but now we're specifically focusing on the gender-based violence, meaning it can be a female to a female, a male to a male, or it can be partners or people that are dating or not dating, or families, as long as there's violence that's happening in the gender space. Now, I always say finances are a big chunk of our lives, the whole world, not just South Africans or black people or white people, whatever culture it may be, the whole world. Finance plays a big chunk of our lives. The first thing that we all need to learn when it comes to finance is communication, is having a conversation about the state that you are in with whoever that you are with, or family, it may be whoever. One thing that we don't do as people, we don't talk about the financial states that we are in. We don't have big conversations with our families to say, you know what, I'm a breadwinner, but currently I'm going through a change in my career where I'm unable to give money or black tax or whatever we can call it, or I'm unable to pay the bills. You know, the school fees are very expensive, or the supports that I'm doing, it's beyond and above me. Because when you don't talk, it means you are going to be frustrated, and then when you're frustrated, it means you're going to be end up being violent to that person because you think they don't understand. They don't understand because they don't know. They don't understand because you don't communicate. They force to say, I want the new iPhone, I want the latest car, I want the best school for my kids, because you don't communicate. You get parents that says, please take care of me and my family and everything, because there is no conversation that is coming from you to them. Now you end up being this violent person, or this angry person, or this person who feels like people are unfair. People don't think of you. People don't value you. They just want to take. You'd hear daddies say, I'm a cash dad. You would hear single fathers say, I only send money to my kids. I don't have a relationship, because there's no communication. So the best thing that I always teach people is to say, have that tough conversation. If it means people cut you off because you can't afford to take care of them, then so be it. Because you are the one that is in debt, you are the one that cannot afford, you are the one that is fighting with your emotions. So finances are a big chunk of our lives. Communication is the best part of making sure that people understand the position you are in. There's nobody who would ever frustrate you if they know that your bank balance is showing a zero account. But if I don't know your bank balance is showing a zero account, then I will keep on wanting more.
Yeah.
When you communicate, it allows you to be able to live life the way you want to live. It allows you to be able to go eat out. It allows you to be able to take a vacation, because you've communicated that I might be going vacations, but it doesn't mean that I've got money. I'm doing
Mm.
self-care. or I'm trying to connect with myself so that when I'm able to, I can give.
But you see, that's the thing, Busi, and I want to bring this into light because I do feel like it happens in a lot of African homes. The ideal state is that you can sit your family down and say, listen, at this stage of my life, I can't afford to carry the
Yeah,
responsibilities. Or you sit down with your spouse and say, at this stage of my life, I can't afford to carry us. These are ideal states in African contexts. I'll even stretch it as far as the world over.
yeah,
If the family is going through a tough time financially, that has already affected the mental state of the homestead,
yeah.
right?
Very true.
So we're not speaking to individuals who, and of course this is a general bias. This isn't something that I can say is factual for every single homestead, but you're more
Mm,
likely to find parents who will resist, siblings who will
yeah,
resist, a wife or a husband who will get upset, you know, because at the end of the day, my gauge, and I could be completely wrong about this, my gauge
yeah,
is if already there is a disparity in financial ability to contribute, then there's already something wrong in the
yeah.
context of the next person, you know.
Mm,
And so this expectation that we have on this one individual who perhaps earns a really good salary and now has fallen off by the wayside, according to
yeah,
family and friends and whoever, is that you are helping us, you are saving us, and if someone
yeah.
needs saving, that means they're not okay. And
Mm.
so how do we constructively have those conversations?
So, one word, every breadwinner or every person that is taking care of a family, it means they've enabled the family members to treat them the way they are treating them. I'll make a case scenario where I had a couple that came to my office because of gender-based violence or domestic violence, intimate partner violence at that point in time. And the guy had a stroke, one side stroke. The whole side wasn't functioning, but he was arrested for victimizing the partner. And then when they came to the session in my office, I realized that the problem is not the money, the problem is not the violence, the problem is the guy never communicated about his finances, and the wife never knew that he was going through a lot of financial strain. Hence, he got the stroke because now he can't afford to pay bills, and bills are increasing because there's DSTV, there's Netflix, there's Showmax, there's all these unnecessary things. And he said one word, I can't even afford to buy KFC for myself because I need to make sure that this family is well taken care of. And in that session, the wife said, but you could have said, you could have told me, you could have communicated. We would have downgraded few things. We would have a conversation with the kids to make them understand that we can't have a Netflix, a Showmax, a YouTube. All of these things are subscribed. We can choose one because we understand the state that they're in. But because you show so much strength and you show off as somebody who's able to, we thought your stresses are work related. We thought even your stroke is work related. That time it was the finances and the family that has so much expectations. And the only thing that they needed to do was to have that conversation. As tough as it can be, we are people, we've got ears. We are being enabled by the people that are supporting us to say, I'm going to depend on you. Whether you have it or not, I'm going to depend on you. But when we re educate our families, our spouses, our kids to say, there's a point in my life where I am in this state, and it's okay for you to allow me to fix it because I will go beyond and above. You're going to lose me, that one person you're dependent on. Then it goes back to the self love that we always have conversations about to say, you come first. You are the prize. You are the most important part of your life right now. If you're not going to take care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to even take care of the families that you want to take care of. So it goes back to the selfishness that I might have mentioned to say, rather be a selfish individual because if you get stroked because of finances and families, who stroked? It's you, not them. They continue to live their lives. So go back to that space of saying, I would rather be as naked as I am and give you exactly what I'm going through. And if you love me, if you care about me, you will be able to understand and work with me. But we enable our families to treat us the way they are treating us because we do not come up front. We make means to make sure that we support. We take loans to make means. We take extra income, shark loans. We sell cars, we sell things because we want to come across as somebody who's able to. A downfall is okay. It's part of life. Once we accept that to say, I'm not always going to be on par with my life, then the people around you will understand that you're going through the most at that
Yeah.
particular time.
Busie, I want to talk about gender training. I do think it's a necessity. I think we don't understand each other sometimes. It's not that we don't want to communicate. It's the
Yeah,
fact that I'm not hearing you. You know, I would say, and let's paint a picture in the context of a man expressing to a woman how he can't provide and him cringing about it, and her going, but you could have told me. I
yeah.
think there's a lack of understanding with respect to the severity it took for that man to open up about his inability to provide in that state. And so, how do we introduce gender training and where can we access gender training?
Everything goes to therapy. Trust me, the way you react to situations, the way you react to conversations, the way you react to receiving something from you, there's a trigger that comes back from how you received it as a kid or as a young person or as a man. The way men respond to women, it goes back to how they used to respond when they were kids to their fathers, to their parents, to their colleagues or whatever. So when we get to first of all, it comes with you. You need to understand yourself first. Are you strong enough to have that conversation? What are these esteems that you have, self-esteems that you have? What are these, what's the word I want, confidence that you have? Is it going to break you when you speak about the finances? Is it going to create a monster when you give yourself out and put yourself down? What was your past experiences when you've done it before, or you had an experience of it before? So when we don't sit down and have conversations with professionals that will tap into our emotions and our spaces, then we won't be able to even have that conversation with a woman, because you yourself cannot have that conversation with yourself. You've been crushed before. You've been raised in an African culture where indoda must work hard and not show a weakness and not show that I'm going through the most. Now, you can't go to a woman and show your weakness because you've been taught, you've been educated, you've been groomed to hold yourself together, but you are going through the most. So when we come to therapy or when we sit, even if it's couples, even if it's family, we get to open platforms where people get to understand themselves to say, this is how I was affected by my past. It created this monster that I have. I'm going to use one word. There's something that when we grow up, in Xhosa, dizobabonisa, whatever that has happened to me or whatever experiences you had in high school, you've got that mindset that says, they will know me. I will make sure that I succeed. I will make sure that I push. I will make sure that they will know me. I will make sure. It comes from a trauma that you've experienced growing up, and therefore you make a decision of, they will know me. Now, how do you go back to a weakness tried to overcome all of your life to say, when I make it in life, I'm going to show them? And then you make it in life, and then life puts you back down. How do you go back and say, oh, guys, I'm here now? Because there's a conversation you had with yourself. Hence therapy. Hence having to sit down with somebody to say, can I understand my action? Can I understand the way of thinking? Can I understand how these things are affecting me? And why am I such a pleaser? Why am I such somebody who wants to make sure that people are okay? Why am I this person? Why can I not sit and stand through my truth and say, this is me, this is what's happening, face it, take it or leave it? So we need to discover ourselves and understand what triggers us, what traumatized us, what created these beings, before we are able to even sit with somebody and share who we are.
Busie, this has been rather fruitful. I'm not going to lie. I wanted more. I wanted us to
Yeah.
go on for 12 hours. But unfortunately, we are time pressed. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me this evening, and good night.
The voice there of Busie Mzandolo joining us this evening. She is a registered clinical social worker, a health therapist and an advocate for GBV awareness.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.